that then. Because I wanted to ask you about the humanities, because you are like, and liberal arts. That was the one big question I didn't get to ask you. We good? Okay. So the paper on defining sin, you and Hans Spaltholz.
Yeah, the first writing assignment. And the paper that was posted in the dining hall kind of burnt around the edges. It was typing paper. And then in old-fashioned classical medieval script, it said, don't mind the shape I'm in, I lost my mind defining sin. Because they would come to class and say, okay, well, what about this? And, you know, this definition, that definition. We kept pushing them, you know, to get beyond what they had learned in confirmation class, et cetera, before they actually wrote the paper. And it was a difficult process for many of them.
Well, that's a huge existential question. And I'm guessing that you didn't just let them go by with the usual answer.
Well, we pushed them. You know, we would say, okay, you know, what do you have? Well, but what about this? And what about that? No, I've got to now add that to it. So gradually, we led them deeper into the concept, and before they finally wrote their papers. And it was a wonderful way to begin my career as a teacher.
And these are freshmen that you're making define sin. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But then they were all, like, as far as I know, Lutherans, headed into a Lutheran occupation or calling.
But still, you were challenging their assumptions, because all of us are going to come to college with some background. We're not empty slates. Right. And you challenged their assumptions.
Yeah, and it was not putting the emphasis upon the, might call it the academics of writing per se, but thinking, because the greatest thing I learned from teaching writing is that writing is thinking, and you're teaching people how to think in an organized way and how to communicate what they're thinking by using techniques that go all the way back to the Greeks. Hans and I used classical rhetoric text.
The Socratic method?
Well, there was paper of definition, paper of comparison, contrast, classification. So they did all of these
I see.
types of papers. Okay. And it gave them a way to put into words what they were thinking. And we wanted them to go deeper into their thinking. Teaching or reading student papers years later, even most recently, it seems to me that the only technique of organizing that their previous teachers had taught them was, first of all, second, third, fourth, and now I've organized it, and they may not have organized it at all by putting numbers in each, at the beginning of each paragraph.
Okay, so this leads to a greater question that I wanted to ask you, which was about humanities. That Concordia is a liberal arts university. Why bother being a liberal arts student when you can go online and you can get, you know, training for a specific thing for right now? Why, can you make a case? Can you make a case for the liberal arts in this day and age? What are the great things?
I can, because it's a part of my life every day. You know, whether I'm watching a TV show and I know those Greek gods and who they were. You know, I just watched Clash of the Titans from 20 years ago, and I knew who they were and what their backgrounds were. And so that enhanced my understanding of what was going on. So I think there's value in what the past has given us, and it enriches so much of my own life in ways that I'm glad I have, and I wouldn't give it up for anything. And unfortunately, people don't necessarily have to do it anymore. You can just live in the present, and the past becomes superheroes or something. You know, that's about the extent of it.
So are you saying that you find a way for the past to make an impact on the present?
Oh, absolutely.
And that it matters?
Yes. Well, for me, and I can't take it beyond myself much, I sometimes, even in sermons from the pulpit, I use it. You know, I'll refer to this and kind of give the background of it and how this ties into applying this text to your life. And that's what I enjoy, is connecting people to the heritage they have, but may not realize it's there to enrich their lives,
Okay.
just as Scripture is, you know. And recent years, I've preached more and more about how our life changes here and now because of our faith, and making that connection for people. And at least many of them appreciate it, you know, because it gives them a new perspective.
Okay.
So,
One last question.
yeah.
You now have a great-granddaughter. If she gets to view this in 25 years, how old is she now?
She's 4.
4. Okay, let's put her at 29. Well, no, let's make it 20. So let's make her, yeah, just
Why
at
wait
the
that
edge.
long?
Yeah, why?
She's 4 and she knows everything already. So.
What would you like to say to her for 20 years from now, or any other student who has come through, who gets to see this one whole generation later?
I hope that people still have a joy for living, and that they learn how to live in a way that makes their lives peaceful for them, and always a little bit of challenge to keep you moving forward, to accomplish more or know more or do more. And to have the perspective that you have a life here and now, you have another shape of life in the future, in eternity, and to be able to live with the confidence that that exists for you, and to know the peace that comes from knowing that. One of the things I've done since I've retired, I decided to learn more about what the term spiritual life means. And ironically, I learned it from a series of authors who were not Lutherans. They were all Roman Catholic, but they had devoted their lives to writing about spiritual life. And I learned so much about that has changed my life since I've retired. And I would like them to have that same experience.
Can I be daring and ask you to name some of those authors?
I got started with Richard Rohr, recommended to me by a member of the congregation I served, a book called Everything Belongs. The basic point is everything that comes into your life belongs in your life if you believe that God is in touch with you, and therefore just say, well, this is a part of God's plan, and that brings peace. Henry Nouwen, you gave me a book. In fact, I have 4 brand new copies I bought for some people in down in Malala, where I was doing the vacancies. It's such a great book on the Lord's Supper. And
With burning hearts.
and with burning hearts. And I recently made the mistake of opening it again and say, well, I just want to refer to something in here, and you start reading it and it's hard to stop. Thomas Merton. I had always wanted, I had classmates who talked about the 7-story mountain. I finally got around to reading it a few years ago. And it's right up there with the person who wrote the great biography back in the 300s.
In the 300s?
Yes. Yeah.
Not Gregory the Great.
Augustine.
Augustine, thinking, okay.
Yeah, his autobiography.
Oh, the Confessions. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the
Okay.
Confessions. And so there are 3, and those are the main ones.
I think that's great, from a liberal arts humanities person. The 3 great books to read.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we will ask your
Yeah,
great-granddaughter to
because
put
they
those
have
on
changed my
reserve.
life so much. I realize retirement isn't easy. all of a sudden you have to entertain yourself, and there isn't all the other contacts that you have. And I'm grateful I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time reading these books about spiritual life. And let me just give you one example. I was looking for something to accomplish in my life. And one of the things I kept noticing as I went to the grocery store or as I drove down the street or watched the news is everyone's uptight. They want everything right now. Hurry up, And I would watch people waiting to check out in the grocery store, and they're looking, I can't stand here in line. And I said, I'm going to learn to wait and like it. And that, it sounds simple-minded, but that has made a major difference in my life. Sometimes I forget to do it, and I catch myself. But my blood pressure goes down. I'm happier. And then I used this story in a sermon recently. I said, and now my only problem is I stand in line at the grocery store, and I look around at those people who are uptight, and I say, I'm glad I'm not like them anymore.
Yeah, there is a Bible story about that. Oh, gosh, thank you so much. Okay, I think we're done, and I thank you so much. Yay.